So growing up, I was a crybaby growing up.
Okay.
And then I had to toughen up. So I went through a stage where, because I was a mama's boy, and I would cry easily, and then I had to go through a stage where I had to learn how to hold back my tears, and you can't cry, and you got to be a man, and so now I'm going through this phase in my life where I'm creating this external hardness because I'm trying to make sure I don't come across as this soft dude,
like a
whatever.
person,
Yeah. So now I create this thing in my mind where you gotta be true. Hey, stop crying, blah, blah. And I messed up with my first two children with that, about making sure they have this hard exterior, like you don't. Then I ran across. It was an interview. I think it's a guy named Jason Wilson, and he was on the Breakfast Club. And he was doing an interview. Now this guy's like triple black belt and all this kind of stuff, and he started talking about how. Now this is a guy that can probably can whoop everybody in America 1-on-1, and he was talking about how there's a chemical in the tear that when we cry, it pulls the stress out. And so he was saying, like, if you need to, as a man, if you need to cry, because what's happening is that we have these young men who are going around and they don't know how to express themselves or when to express themselves. They don't know what to do with all of these emotions. And so he had this acronym.
You want me by you?
He had this acronym of THUG, which is traumatized humans unable to grieve. So you have these young dudes that they are traumatized humans unable to grieve, and what we're seeing in our community, this is the harvest of trying to tell these guys, you got tough love, you can't do this, and these guys don't know, and they're having PTSD because they're growing up in the hood with gunshots and violence and all this kind of stuff, and so
ain't no man there to help them process,
right?
Not for them to tell them what to do with those feelings, how to get it out. Because now, like you said, cutting the lawn was it was therapy for you.
Yeah.
Well, they're not cutting the lawn anymore. They don't. They are not giving coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
And I would say not just men, even women too. Like, we don't know how to cope.
But I think there are a lot more things out there for women than there are for men.
I mean, I agree, but you can still see the unhealthiness. I mean, like, when you stop and look at society, it's like, okay, where are the mothers and where are the fathers?
I guess for me, there are more resources or access to resources for women than there are for men.
I
help you all with your
feelings,
emotions and griefs and stuff like that. And,
I agree.
It wasn't. Overall, I don't think it was taught for women to hold their emotions. I'm not saying some women didn't do it, but I just don't think overall.
Yeah.
Overall, for men, and I don't know, maybe it was because of, for our ancestors, how we grew up or what was happening. You had to kind of do this so that people wouldn't see, or they would call it weakness. I don't know, but
I agree that it is more socially acceptable.
That's good. I like that.
For women to, they go shopping or they actually go see a therapist or a counselor. Like, it's just not something that, I agree with you, that it don't seem like it's socially acceptable. It's now coming around that men need therapy too.
Yeah.
They need to, a break and whatever. So it's like we are restructuring those systems to include both parties. Because at the end of the day, even though you're a man and I'm a woman, we are humans.
Yeah.
And you have feelings, I have feelings. Like, that's what make us human.
Yeah.
And so